we're excited that Flash Player 10.1 will increase the evolution of the peer-to-peer functionality that we introduced in 10.0 back in 2008. And that technology we're adding is going to significantly change the way that we think of media delivery. Today, we're forced to use a unicast form of delivery. So whether it's RTMP delivery or HTTP dynamic streaming that is also part of Flash Player 10.1, the multicast and the peer-to-peer functionality help broadcasters and people who are interested in delivering media experiences, whether it's two-way video conferencing or a one-way video broadcast, helps them reduce their costs by removing the equation of bandwidth, because the bandwidth is consumed between the peers and not between the server and the client.
What are some of the issues, that people are concerned about,
So I think the biggest, there's a couple of big issues. One is around privacy. People don't want peer-to-peer to go and raid their computers and start delivering that content over the web. They also don't want uncontrolled access to their bandwidth. So there's a common fear out there that peer-to-peer, all of a sudden, I'm using my bandwidth to help everybody else. So what we're doing to help evolve peer-to-peer into a technology that not just will ultimately be used for media delivery, but also by IT organizations. So if you can imagine a world where you can use peer-to-peer to deliver your video broadcast from your CEO or from your staff within your enterprise or within your business without investing in massive amounts of hardware. Right? There's a significant benefit there. Outside the firewall, there's a significant benefit to those organizations who want to use video either for communication, for one or two-way video chat or n-way video chat, and are restricted today because the bandwidth costs are just too high and the scalability costs are just too high. So peer-to-peer gives a new breadth to social media for video and high-quality media. When you look at the costs are, the vast majority of costs are in bandwidth delivery. When you look at media delivery today, the more high definition content you get, the more bandwidth you're going to be using from your server. So the key value here is how to help manage that bandwidth cost. And so when you think about the cost of building a social media application with video, bandwidth is probably 75% of the cost that you have to think about. There's a demonstration I did at the Streaming Media East show here where I showed if someone was to do a two-way video conference and support 10,000 people over a year, so support that as a service, it would cost them roughly about $3 or $4 million a year just in bandwidth costs. So if you take that line out of your costs by using peer-to-peer, all of a sudden, all you need to worry about is the configuration of the servers and configuration of the getting the people onto the system. I think when we look at who's using Flash, there's a few main use cases that people are using them for. Ones that point out are web games. 75% of all web games are delivered using Flash, which is huge. 75% of all web video is delivered using Flash. So those two use cases are very bandwidth heavy and very server heavy. So the benefit to Adobe is so that we can provide to the developers who choose and invest in building their applications on the Flash platform to give them an opportunity to continue to grow their business. And ultimately for us, we want people to use the Flash platform for media delivery and games and continue to allow them to do that. So by helping them in managing some of those high costs that they have, peer-to-peer can help continue that investment into their platform.
Oh, so you don't really have a payment system or a charge system for bandwidth on your server for the peer-to-peer, people use peer-to-peer? I mean,
so there's two things offered by Adobe in the relationship of costs. We offer a free preview service called Stratus, which is up on our Labs, Adobe Labs website. And that service is completely free. So there's no cost to anybody. And the developer can use that service to experiment with the technology, understand and learn it. And then when they're ready to go commercial, to offer a commercial offering, we have a secondary product called the Lifecycle Collaboration Services. And that service is another service by Adobe where there is a metered cost. So there's a cost on bandwidth and a cost on connections. And we've posted those up on adobe.com.
Tell us about the capabilities of Adobe as a global CDN, if you are, or Tell us about that.
We're not a global CDN. We don't provide content delivery services, and that's the definition of CDN. What we are providing with Stratus and the lifecycle collaboration services are introductory services. So it's like the dating game for Flash. Right? So it's how to, if I'm a Flash player and you're a Flash player, how do I find you? And so if we're both connected to the group or the server, the Stratus server or the lifecycle collaboration services, then we'll be able to find each other. And when we find each other, we can decide how to communicate with each other. And whether that's through just me directly sending you a stream or you fetching it from a server. The way that we're positioning Stratus is as a preview technology, but it's as an introductory service. It's not a CDN. So the workflow is that you will, as a developer, ask Adobe for a developer key. We'll provide you a developer key. And the terms of service are applied to that developer key. So then you'll go and build an application using the Adobe Stratus or the Lifecycle Collaboration Service. And that application will either enable peer-to-peer or use something else. If peer-to-peer is enabled, the impact to your audience is when they subscribe to your stream or are asked to participate in the stream, very similar to today where you have a camera dialog in Flash Player or a microphone dialog. You will have a dialog come up on the Flash Player that the developer cannot turn off. So this is a piracy or a privacy thing. The developer, or sorry, the user will then say, I agree or I do not agree to allowing people to use my upload bandwidth. And if they don't agree, they won't participate in the group. And then the publisher can decide to say, well, if this person's not going to agree to be part of my peer-to-peer, the publisher is going to get charged more for bandwidth, right? Because they're probably going to use either a CDN or another service to deliver that stream to the user. So they may choose, a different type of stream, a different quality level of stream, versus what they could deliver with a peer-to-peer stream, where if they did agree to participate in the group, then they could actually deliver a higher quality stream. Now this is not something Adobe mandates, this is just an idea, right? So it's just an idea for developers and publishers to say, here's another option for delivery that will help lower your costs. But at no time are people participating in a peer-to-peer group without their knowledge.
And there's no downloadable client, correct?
No, it's all built in the Flash Player. And that's another key point, is that Flash Player today, Flash Player 10 is installed 95% of all PCs worldwide. But as we look into Flash Player 10.1, we expect that same penetration this same time next year. And so with the peer-to-peer built right in, the only impact to the audience is accepting to use their upload bandwidth.
Okay, Kevin, thanks very much.
You're welcome.